All right, this is gonna be an extremely long video, probably 30 minutes, maybe more. If you are not going to watch the whole thing, that's fine, but just realize I am going to go out this whole tier list and try and explain my reasonings for most of the units, why they're placed. I put this on Twitter a few hours ago, and it was like a beta to see how people would react. They ate me up. Like, they ate me up. It was crazy. So this is gonna be a long video. I'm just pre-warning you right now. If you are curious, just go ahead and skip through the video to a section, and you know, hopefully I get around to talking about the unit that you want talked about. But for the most part, this is a PvP tier list. This is not PvE. This is a PvP tier list, okay? I just want to preference that. All right, now that we got that out of the way, let's go ahead and let's just dive into this. It's been a really long time since I made a tier list video, just going over the broad units in the game, because this is every unit in the game currently. You know, this might come out when another unit comes out, maybe. I don't know when I'm releasing this, but just keep that in mind, right? Just keep that in mind. Okay, let's just do this. just do this. It's gonna be a fun video. All right. So we'll start off with the fodder units. Literally, these units in here don't have a passive that works in PvP, or they just outright suck. That's it. The point blank period. There's no like ands, ifs, or buts about it. They just suck, or they don't have a passive that works in PvP. For example, Blue Matrona, Red Christmas Liz, Green Liz, right? They can't use their passives in PvP. Why would you use them? You don't. That's it. You don't. Green Arthur, he sucks in PvP because you can't use his passive. It is what it is. So this is a very easy like tier right here. They're just fodder, right? They're just absolute fodder characters. Some, yes, you could use in PvP, but they just suck. Like, that's it. There's nothing else to say. Like Mikasa in here, she's just, to me, again, tier lists are opinionated. Remember that. To me, she sucks. She just outright sucks. She has the syndrome where you have to build her up, right? Build up syndrome. She has that. So like, it is what it is. What do you want me to say? I hate Green Merlin. No one's gonna change my opinion on her. I'm sorry. She could be your most favorite unit in the world. She's fodder. She is. Then we got Beatrice, again, fodder. Right? She's fodder. You could maybe save her by putting her in C. Like, she can do healing. She does that pretty good. But like, yeah, she has to deal damage to heal, and she doesn't do that, and she's just really shit. So I think she's horrible. And then all these are like SR characters that you're probably never gonna touch in your entire existence in PvP. Like, who the hell is gonna bring in green SR Gother? You're not. So yeah, like this tier is very easy. All right, moving up, the C tier. Probably never gonna use these characters, but has one redeeming quality. You will probably never gonna use, might not have been the right phrase, but you're rarely gonna use them, right? Maybe if you just started the game and you have no other good units, you might use them, and that's fair. That's fair. But in the long run, these units are literally just units you're not going to touch ever again once you start getting into the higher tiers of PvP, or you just start getting more and more characters, right? You're never going to use them, but they do have one redeeming quality, maybe two, that might give them an edge over a couple of units, right? For example, if we just point out like Lost Vein, I could move them up to here. Like, I feel like that's fair to move Lost Vein up there, but for the most part, newer players aren't really gonna use them as much. Again, low tier, yeah, but then you get into like the mid to high tier PvP range, you're not seeing Lost Vein melee, that's for damn sure. But yeah, like these units right here, they just don't really have much to them, right? They just don't. Truth be told, you got Blue Demon Melee, who has Pierce card syndrome, where you only have one good card and that's it. The other card is just shit. Like, it's just garbage, right? So he has that. Blue Zeldris. No, I'm not even gonna go over Blue Zeldris. It just, yeah, most of these units, they just have one redeeming quality. Now, here's the thing. Brunhild is here because she has a good like kit. She has Power Strike single target, and she has Detonate single target. She has a Holy Relic too, but it's not the craziest. It only increases, I think it only increases her attack by 20% or something like that. But it's not like the craziest. Keep in mind, the characters that have holy relics, I try to keep them in my head too, like when judging this, because holy relics are important to the character. Now, if you have a character that you don't have a holy relic for that's on the C tier, they might just end up in the fodder tier, to be completely honest with you. Like Red Helbram, his holy relic helps fairies, which is the only thing really that kept me from putting him in fodder. He can deplete orbs and petrify, but that's not that helpful nowadays, especially because Helbram's CC isn't the highest and he's not really that great of a unit. Same thing goes for this green Helbram, but since they have that holy relic that helps fairies, you can run him along. You can actually run him alongside like Chad King and do some pretty good work with that. It's not crazy to think, right? It's just not crazy to think about that. But then we get units like Blue Lilia, for example. She has a holy relic, but it sucks because it just heals like 20% of her diminished HP every time. I think every time she clears a debuff or something like that. I don't know. It's not really that important, to be honest. But yeah, she can deplete orbs. She has an AoE deplete orbs. She helps with the Pierce meta. It's probably the only redeeming quality like she has outside of healing, to be honest. The orb depletion is nice, but not like, oh my god, I have to run her. You know what I mean? So she does have a few things that you could point out that makes her like, all right, usable for sure. Maybe I should have just put her, usable, but has one redeeming quality. Maybe I should have put that. Yeah, I'm gonna put that. Usable, but has one redeeming quality. I feel like that's fair to judge this. To judge like this tier itself. Usable, but has one redeeming quality. Yeah, I like that. Okay, sure. But yeah, so, or has one redeeming quality. Maybe this. Yeah, I like that. Maybe we do this, or one redeeming quality. I'm telling you right now, they ate me up on Twitter. But all right, so yeah, so I like that. Usable or one redeeming quality. All right, cool. So most of these characters, again, you're gonna probably use them like low tier, but once you reach like mid/high, you're definitely not gonna see much play from them. And the reason I have like these 3 SRs up here is SR Slater, low key, his one ability that cancels everything but attack skills is pretty useful. It is actually pretty strong. I do like it. Or is it like debuffs? Hold on, let me check. I think it's attack, isn't it? Just want to make sure before I keep going, but I'm pretty sure it's attack. Yeah, so it disables everything but attack skills. Yeah, and it lowers attack related stats. That's pretty good too. Like that's strong. I don't know what else to say. That's really strong. But yeah, he has that, which can help. His passive is also pretty good, where he decreases all enemies crit resistance by the value of his crit chance. Now realistically, you're never going to like use him for real. You're not. Maybe with Bond, like maybe, but you're not gonna really use him. Blue Sr Jericho, I feel like you could put her as like maybe number 3 best SR in the game. She does have a heal card, which is very strong. She can increase speed characters attack related stats by 10%. She has a sever single target, and then she has a, I believe is it spike or bleed? I think it's bleed on her ult. I think it is bleed for the SR Jericho. Let me check, but I'm almost 100% sure it's bleed. Yeah, it's bleed. So once you get that bleed ultimate, because bleed that scales off ults actually are pretty strong, right? It actually is pretty powerful because it's scaling off an ult, and the multipliers are just naturally higher than any single target skill card or AoE card that we have currently. But yeah, that is actually pretty strong. So she has that in her back pocket as an SR character. And then Aaron's pretty good because he has evasion with his buff skill, and he increases basic stats, right? He has Derriere's buff skill, so that's pretty good. Then we get these Jerichos as well. Like these Jerichos are all like, they're gimmicky, but the way they work, it's just like you could use them, right? You could if you really wanted to. This Jericho right here is probably, no, is Green Jericho the best PvP Jericho? I want to say the red one is, but her freeze, man. If they would have just buffed her freeze to where it just freezes on rank 1 instead of that shitty rank 2, oh my god, she would have, like, she actually would have been to be honest, the best Jericho we have for PvP, because she doesn't freeze on rank 1, which really hurts her, and you know, rank 2 she does freeze, which is cool. I mean, yeah, but it's like rank 2, you know what I mean? She has a single turret detonate and then the spike ultimate, which to be fair, she has this passive where if they take critical damage from her skills, she decreases the defense related stats by 40%. Same thing as whatchamacallit, Ludosio, right? Same thing as Ludosio, but obviously Ludo, if you just proc it by getting more CC than the opponent, it's better. But yeah, so most of these units in C, they're usable, but you know, you're not really gonna use them, or they just have one redeeming quality, whether they're just used on the back or whatever. So I don't know. You can decide whether or not you want to place them higher. I mean, sure, if you want to wank Red Arthur off and put him in B, yeah, you could, I guess, right? I don't have a problem with that. Again, tier lists are opinionated, so it's up to you, really. Like, I know maybe if you wanted to put, I don't know, who else could I say? Me personally, I don't really see like most of these units moving up. I really don't. You know, it's funny because Sora, when I put this on Twitter, he said, yeah, you definitely can tell he's a global player. I don't know, man. JP players moving different, I guess, right? But me personally, I just don't see most of these units moving up. I just don't, right? They're all like just usable or have one redeeming quality, in my opinion. But sure, that's the whole C. Now we go up to B. This is like probably going to be more controversial than anything, I feel like. So these are fun options to use but aren't necessarily meta units. Okay, so here's the thing with this, right? I put fun options to use and aren't necessarily meta units, and I mean that because they're not. You can use Iori, right? You definitely can use them. You can use 11, and you can use any of these characters that are on this tier, but they aren't meta, right? They aren't like necessarily going to make or break a match, you know what I mean? They'll help, but it's not like, oh my god, I have them on a team, oh no, like, oh no, here comes, I don't know, here comes Red Halloween Slater, oh shit, I lost, right? No, or it's not like you're using Green Halloween Deandra and be like, I guess I gotta quit. Green Halloween Deand's on the field, it's over, guys, pack it up. No, you're not quitting because you see a goddamn blue Summer Roxy, right? Like, you're not doing that. But they are fun. They're fun units you can use, and they're not meta. You know what I mean? Which is why I've said you can put Lostbane in here for sure, because I feel like a lot of people are gonna be like, well, what about Red Lostbane? His ult is still one of the strongest ults in the game. Don't get me wrong. You know, you can still clean wipe the entire field with a lucky crit, or, you know, depending on how many cards you have in your hand. But the thing about Meliodas is he's gonna get squashed like a goddamn bug. Like, he's actually just gonna get cream pied in PvP. He has no crit resistance, so he needs to get crit for his passive. But if he gets crit by any of these meta units, he's dead. Like, he's actually just he's done. So whenever demons get holy relics, my opinion of him might change, but I really do not see what they can do for his holy relic besides maybe making him a little bit more like defensively viable, I guess. Again, I don't know what they could do. They could do something like Slater's passive where he reduces crit damage by, honestly, at this point, he should reduce crit damage by like 95%. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. He takes too much damage. He does. But the rest of these units, like, all right, let's do Blue King, for example. Again, keep in mind, Blue King, he does have a holy relic. He does. So when he uses his AoE, he will inflict, I believe it's bleed as well. So he's proccing his passive just by himself without the help of Hendrickson. And you can run him, you actually can run Small Wings King with that holy relic if you have Elaine. He does need Elaine, I'm not gonna lie, he kind of does need Elaine because Elaine has shock, but he is like proccing his passive by himself now, which is really good. They can't remove debuffs with recovery skills, and then also if they have three of these debuffs, they lose an orb from their ultimate gauge. So you can run him. I feel like a lot of people are gonna look at this and be like, oh, Small Wings King, there's a terrible list. What are you doing? But with the Holy Relic, he actually can be viable. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, he actually could. You can make a team that can help him out, right? Not saying he's meta, because he's not, but he is fun, right? You could use him for just fun shits and giggles, and you know, you could win a match with him potentially if you play it smart and you have the right team. But let's take another unit, for example. Who else want to take, for example? I mean, I guess we could use like Green Estarossa as a backline unit, but him on the front isn't the best because of his commandment. Because of his commandment, it's not the best to have him on the front. But if you have a team with immunity, you don't have to worry about that. And the enemy team is going to suffer from it. So, you know, you could build a team around him and potentially win. Blue Derriere, I feel like, is also another option where she doesn't have the craziest kit. But keep in mind, if she gets hit 3 times and she lives, if she gets hit 3 times, the ultimate gauge of the enemies, like, they can't use their ult, right? They can't use their ult, basically, which is really, really powerful to have in the back pocket. So yeah, and she can remove buffs, so that's a plus. So you can use these units. Like, it's not like against the law to use any of these units here, but they're just not meta. Like, they're not, but they're fun to use, right? Then you have these green gills. They're just backline units along with this Merlin. They are. Like, I didn't want to put them in C because I feel like a lot of people would have been like, oh, well, you know, what are you doing? So I just put them here, I guess, as like honorary, you could say. Also, none of these units where they're placed is like placed one over the other. It's not like I have Matrona over, or not Matrona. I guess we could go like somewhere around here. Like, it's not like I have, I don't know, Escanor over any of these units or anything like that. It's just, I just literally just placed them in this tier. Their placement doesn't matter within the tier. It's just they're in this like B tier. So keep that in mind. But yeah, you could use them and it could be fun. Also, Valenti, I feel like under the right conditions, which is why I have this A tier right here. I guess we could just go up to here, right? This A tier, good units that can support or deal damage but need specific teams, which is why I have her here. Because she's fun, but she's not meta. But you could also move her up here if she's on the right team, and she is good when she works. But the problem with her is that her crit chance sucks. Her sever damage, her ult, or her crit damage isn't the best. So there are a lot of things that go against Valenti, which hurt her. But she has Nullify, and Nullify is a very, very strong ability. She also has the like the Small Wings King or the Abyss ultimate effect, where she reduces damage by 50% and increases damage by 50%. Right? It's not the actual Abyss, but it's the effect that Abyss gives. So she has that as well, which is very, very solid. But for the most part, she's more of a fun unit now. When she first released, she was really, really good. But she's more of a fun unit than necessarily meta. So keep that in mind. But yeah, I feel like this tier is perfect as well. Like, maybe, I don't know, if you really, really wanted to move some of these units up, like maybe Green Melly up here, sure. Or, you know, you wanted to move, I don't even know who you would possibly move. Like, maybe like Monspeed up here with Kyo, sure, I guess. But alright, really? Arthur? But you guys can decide. You guys decide, whatever. Alright, so A tier. I feel like everybody in here is fine. Like, they're just good units, but they need specific teams to really pop off. You know what I mean? Initially I had Rugal at S, but upon thinking about it, I didn't want to put him in S tier because of the fact that he does need a specific team. He does. To be at his absolute pinnacle, he does. He is still a Pierce unit. Don't get me wrong. He suffers from the Pierce card syndrome, but the difference is he has a very, very good passive skill. And I feel like when you proc his passive skill, he is a demon. Like, he is still a demon. Don't get it twisted. His Holy Relic helps him out too with his what is it? Every time he gets hit, he increases his Pierce by 10% up to 5 times. And he doesn't even have to take damage from the skill. It can be a debuff and it'll still proc, which is absolutely fantastic. I love that about Rugal's Holy Relic. Absolutely love it. But yeah, he does need a specific team. He isn't the craziest defensively now. He will get absolutely body slammed on his right team. He actually will be. But I mean, like, if you wanted to run him on anything but Pierce, you could. Like, it's not impossible to think about. You could, but obviously Pierce is going to be his best team for sure. And then the rest of these units in here, like Reamer, I had a really hard time deciding where to put him, and Benimaru. Benimaru, again, he kind of needs Ludo, low key. Like, he kind of needs Ludo because he wants to crit. Like, critting with Benimaru is essential. Like, it is actually essential. If he doesn't crit, he's kind of Zeldris, low key. Like, low key, he is kind of like Zeldris when he doesn't crit. He ain't doing damage like that. That's it, right? But I definitely think that if I end up doing another one of these, I'm probably gonna end up moving him down here, to be honest. He is good right now. Where in the meta we're in, I think he actually can be strong, but he just needs that specific team. You know what I mean? And then you got Reamer. Reamer was just defensive. He's not offensive at all. He's literally just defensive, which is why I wanted to move him here, but I feel like his defensive power is actually not bad. He has debuff immunity when he taunts, like he heals himself. He's good, man. He is good. He just lacks offensive power, like, to the extreme. Like, to the extreme, he lacks it. But he's good defensively for sure. He's not really gonna take as much damage as you might think, right? He also has his passive skill too, where he increases defensive stats by 12% if he takes damage. He taunts, debuff immunity, heals himself. Like, he's good. I think he would have been even better if this was 2 turns and then this was 3. I think he would have been a lot better. I'm gonna just be honest with you, but it is what it is. You know what I mean? Shins up here. Both of the Shins are up here because the holy relics for these Shins are so good. Like, they are. Whenever they're debuffed, like whenever the enemy is debuffed, Shin deals, what is it, 50% more damage. The holy relic is so powerful. It really is for Shin. I personally don't have like Shin built up or anything like that, but the damage that I see when people use him or showcase him is actually pretty damn good. Now, again, he doesn't need a specific team to where he'll actually like go crazy, but he can still do work. He can. He has blockade, he has spike. The green Shin ranks up whenever he uses 3 skills. He has the green Shin has weak point, and I forgot what the other skill that green Shin has. It's been so long since I actually like looked at him, to be completely honest. Let me see. It's decreases ultimate move damage. Okay, that's still pretty damn good too. So yeah, these 2 are here because of that. This Elaine, as like I mentioned, for him is a very good support unit. The only thing about Elaine is that she doesn't deal damage. She doesn't do much, but her existence supporting fairies is very good. She has that buff card, which if we're being completely honest right now, Elaine has one of the best buff cards in the entire game. She might even have like top 3, maybe top 5, but this is so good because it instantly recovers damage. Think about Tarmiel's Grace, Red Tarmiel Grace, and think about it on a skill. Yeah, and it's all allies. Like, this easily is probably top 5 buff skills in there, easily, without a doubt. But then her passive, right? Her passive, she applies the flower petals of the sacred tree onto the enemies, and then whenever they take damage from a fairy hero, they get shocked. So she's a very good supporting unit. I feel like the only thing is she's not going to deal too much damage. Her ult will go crazy if you have her like maybe 3 out of 6. This unit, because of the way release works and the way she's set up, 3 out of 6 is going to be very, very good. Like, it actually will be. I've seen people do close to 1 million damage. I'm no bullshit. I actually have seen people do a really good amount of damage with her ult because of how release works, because she has a team where they're just applying debuffs in Small Wings King, right? And all those DLT, debuffs, they add up for her ult. So yeah, putting that out there. And then we got Shuna. Shuna, I'll leave her here for now. These two are more like background units. You're not gonna really use them. But Shuna, actually, when thinking about it, I really wasn't a fan of. I'm still not the biggest fan of Shuna, but I cannot take away from what she does. Shuna does so much. When it comes to unknown, she does actually do a lot, because you think about it. Not only does she have a stun, which is bullshit in itself, she has a stun. She decreases unknown race allies damage taken by 20%. She has this where she removes one debuff from allies whenever she uses a recovery skill. And then in turn, she increases pierce rate by 20%, which is good for basically the god green unit himself, Reamer. And then her ult, while not being the craziest, she can deplete orbs with her ult, AoE. So on the unknown team, she's insane. Like, just thinking about it, she actually is pretty insane. You probably want to run her in the back if you're going for more of a attack-based unknown team, but she can be very annoying if you use her in the front, for sure. I'm not going to take that away at all. No, sir. You won't see me taking that away from her. But I don't think she's the craziest unit, right? She's not. It is what it is. So I think I pretty much explained, like, the Drolls are here just because the Drolls are solid units, but yeah, obviously they need specific teams to work. But I think I pretty much explained most of these units. Blue Lost Vein is just, his ult's good. He's gonna take some damage. Unfortunately, he suffers from the stats of Red Lost Vein, but he depletes orbs and he can decrease attack rate stats. So I think he's pretty good. I think he's better than the red one for sure for PvP, without a doubt. I'm not even gonna argue that. I think he is better. All right. So then we get to the S tier. So S tier, units that are very good but have certain conditions or require specific setups. So these units are similar to the A tier units, but the difference is they are runnable even if you don't use them on like the correct, except for unfortunately, except for assault melee, right? But they are runnable. You can run them without having to actually use like major specific teams. For example, you know, assault mode unfortunately has to use demons or commandments, but you can use Goddess Liz anywhere. You can use Zeldris as long as the team has debuffs on the bat. You could run them in the front, although it's not the greatest idea to run in the front. You could. Ludo, you can use everywhere, right? You can use everywhere. Mono, her thing is you don't want to use her with Kyo, so you don't have Zeldris at the back line. You could use her with Ludo. You could use Mono with any team, because as long as they're not debuffed, she will, you know, she will benefit from that, because she'll debuff them at the start then, which will increase her attack power. And then you can run Sario's best team is the Goddess team, no doubt about that, but you could still run them outside of that. You could. Same thing with Melaskala. Kusak does benefit from the demon team, but you could definitely use him outside of that as well. And then Chandler, same thing. So yeah, these are very, very good units, but they have conditions or require specific setups that can set them back from being like better than what they are. Now, I'll take back my word on Meliodas if we get really good demon buffs / demon holy relics. I will bite my tongue on that if he gets a good holy relic and more buffs. I will. But yeah, they're just very good units. There's not really much else to say. Initially, I actually had Bond. I think I had Bond at B when I first did this, but then went on Twitter, they came at me for Bond. I was like, is Bond actually S tier alongside Zeldris? Like, they were starting to make some sense of it, and I'm over here like, yo, he might be, because like going through it, you know, I was going through the obviously the comments and stuff like that. Not this. Where is it? Right here, right? So this is the original post that I posted, and then I'm going through the comments, and then I'm like I'm like debating with this one guy, Raphael, right? Shouts to you. Shouts to everybody on this, by the way. Shouts to everybody. I'm debating with this guy, and I'm like thinking to myself, like, is Bond right there with him? He might be. Like he might be, no bullshit. I'm thinking about it. I'm like, huh. Zeldris blocks ults, but so can Bond. Bond is more versatile on his, like, on the 4th slot than Zeldris. Bond has a holy relic, so he could get higher CC. I'm like, yo, Bond deadass might be an S tier. So I did put him up here. He is more of a backline unit, of course. Same thing with Zeldris, but they're still very good units. They are. And it's like, I would have never thought about that if that guy would have said anything. Because I don't have Ragnarok Bond. I don't. So my initial impression of him is that he's not good, of course. And some of the units I don't have, which unfortunately I can't do anything about that, but I know that they can or they can't be good or bad, except apparently for Bond, because I guess I was wrong about that. And you know what, I can admit when I was wrong. So Bond is, you know, if he's comparable to Zeldris, I'm putting him in S. Putting him in S tier. I think I had Zeldris in SS before, but I doubled down on that because I was thinking about it and I was like, huh, he is right. He is right. If Bond can be S, and Zeldris should be S then, because Zeldris doesn't do too much else like that's different from Bond. He doesn't. So that's crazy. You could argue some of these units can move up or down. I could see it. Again, everyone's gonna have their own opinions. I don't like. It's gonna sound like I'm gonna sound like a dick. I'm gonna sound like a dick, but I don't care. Like, I don't care. This is my opinion. You cry about it. You like it. It is what it is. I don't know what to tell you, right? But I definitely think these S tier units are just very good, but they just fall back because they have certain conditions they have to fulfill or requirements for specific setups. So yeah, but they're still very good units. Alright, now these are just the monsters of PvP at the moment. The SS tier, main units that support the team. Every single one of these units supports the team. Like, they just do, right? They just do. And then we got the triple S main units that make the team, that literally make the team. That's it. There's nothing else to it. Initially I had Margaret, I believe, in SS, but who was I think it was a quote retweet. Hold on, I think it was a quote retweet. I think it was the Spanish community. Yeah, the Spanish community. Shout out to the Spanish community, by the way. Awesome people. He put Margaret in SS, right? He was like, Margaret and Remaro are SS, which I could go with Remaro in SS, like triple S, but Margaret, I'm not a huge fan of Margaret at the moment. I just really don't like her as much, truth be told. But then I'm over here thinking, I'm like, she is on a team with one of the best units in the game at the moment for PvP. She can remove buff or debuffs. She increases damage. Every time you use a buff skill, she's increasing, I believe, the goddess clan. See, this is, I don't even remember her passive versus her grace. I think she's increasing the goddess clan members whatchamacallit, stats, basic stats with her passive. Yeah. Then her holy relic, same thing as her skill. Her buff, I'm over here thinking, I'm like, yo, I'm wrong. She's SS. Like, that's it. She's just SS, right? But yeah, I was thinking about it. It's like, with all due respect, this was no, yeah, no hard feelings. Yeah, listen, everybody has their own opinion. I don't care what people have to say. I just like the opinions. I love the opinions, right? I do. I just do. Shout out to everybody. I'm gonna like everybody's their comments. I do like, they're right? You know, some of these units placements might seem a little strange. I can agree with that. You have your own opinions. It is what it is. You can't change the opinion of others, and you definitely ain't really changing my opinion unless you give me a really solid you know, debate or whatever. But yeah, so Margaret and SS, triple S makes sense. All right, so the SS, main units that support the team. Very, very, very hard to decide whether or not I should put Christmas Lilia up here or down here. But I decided to put her just in here. It's because, like, for triple S, it's hands down, you know that they make the team, right? But for double S, these are just units that support for the most part. Lilia is dealing damage, and this is why I say it's really hard. She is dealing damage, but she's also supporting at the same time because of the dissolve she has, because of the damage she's doing, which is supporting the team. Same thing that goes with Escanor. He's just dealing damage, which is supporting the team, right? they don't make I don't feel like these two make the team. I just don't. Lilia's team is built around support because you use her with either Ludo, Kyo, or Arthur. I haven't really seen, unless you're using her with the Catastrophe team, you could use her with that for sure. But not a lot of people run that. It's not common, and it's not that popular. So I haven't really seen a lot of people run her with the Catastrophe team as much as I have with Kyo, because he's just an easy usable unit for her, and Arthur because he increases the damage for humans. So she's supporting these two by dealing damage. Like she is. It's like she's just supporting these two by just dealing damage. Once you kill Kyo, she's not that good, right? She's not the craziest anymore. So she's a supporting team. It's hard. You could move her up here, and I wouldn't really have a problem with that. I wouldn't really care. But for now, I'm gonna keep her in double S. Personally, me. These Gothers, I don't really have to. I don't have to say anything about them. Tarmiel's very, very good. Not only is his Grace good, but he's really good on the field too, because he can lock ultimate moves with his Holy Relic. He can also deal damage with his Flood card. He has a buff skill that increases attack and decreases damage taken from enemies. So it's pretty good. Milim, just straight up damage. Same thing with Escanor. Amelia, Friesen, Tarmiel. Blue Tarmiel is just a support. Like he's legitimately support. Like that's it, right? Supporting the team. But and then we move up here. This is pretty self-explanatory. Remaro is probably the most like debated on this. Like here let me just Reamer SSS, right? Reamer on S tier is just a crime. I don't care about Ragnarok Merlin. Serious, move Rim up. Super serious, ruin his CT. Stupid. Reamer on SSS, right? Reamer is overrated. Okay. And then Christmas, yeah, this guy made a good point. Christmas Lilia is very good for DPS. If she goes first, she can kill melee. I'm not gonna argue that. She can destroy your DPS or support. I'm not gonna disagree with that. I'm not gonna disagree with that at all. I'm not. But the problem with this is that if she goes second, she dies, right? She goes second, she dies, which you could argue with many units. I'm not gonna sit here and say like most of these units that's not the case with, but you know, here's the thing. Melee doesn't need Kyo. He doesn't need Kyo. He's a force all on his own. He does need single target allies, but he doesn't need Kyo. You can use him with Gother, but realistically, he doesn't even really need Gother. Like, melee is just good on his own. Christmas Lilia needs debuffs. She needs it. She thrives off of it. She absolutely needs it. And that would be my argument against this. I'm not saying that her DPS is horrible. For real, I'm not. She's absolutely amazing DPS. Not gonna take that away from her, right? If she can kill Meliodas, I'm not taking that away from her either. But he's going to kill her if he goes first, like he is, or he kills Kyo if he goes first. And Lilia she's bacon. Her ass is grass. So she's a support / DPS. Her placement's weird. Like, you could move her up to triple S. I wouldn't give a shit. I really wouldn't. But I'm gonna leave her here because personally I feel like she's just there. I can't say too much about Liz. Liz is limited. She's similar to who is she similar to? She's similar to Assault Melee, passive wise, because she only supports specific units. She only supports 7 Deadly Sins and the 4 Archangels and herself. That's it. That's all she supports with her passive. No one else. Right? So she's very similar to Assault Melee, but the difference is Meliodas legitimately needs other demons or commandments. She doesn't. She still supports herself, right? She still does. But her best team is the Goddess team. Like, that is fact. Like, that is her best team. From what I've seen, she can work on other teams, but not as effectively or efficiently. She needs the actual Goddess team to go crazy, like go crazy. And then her all is whatever. you know, it's nice and it can deal damage, really good damage, but it's not like the crazy, like, it's not like, oh my god, I have her 2 out of 6, she's unusable. No, she's still usable, right? She's not gonna, she's gonna have a blue buff instead of a gray buff, but she still, it doesn't matter. She's still good. She's one of those units, it doesn't matter how many dupes you have in her, she's still gonna be good. Remaro steals buffs. So what I think it was Rose. Where's Rose? Oh, she's right here. Okay. There was Rose. Yeah. So Rose said the fact alone that Remaro eats buffs for free should be an SSS factor. That is absolutely 100% true. Absolutely. And I overlooked that. I'm not gonna lie. I did overlook that initially. So the fact that he can steal her buff if it's not, what is it, 3 or 4 out of 6? You said. Yeah. So she has to be 4 out of. She has to be 4 out of 6 for it to work. Like for him not to steal her buffs. Craziness. Craziness. Now, if you're stacking buffs on buffs with her, Reamer can only steal 1. So you could work around it, but she's right. She's absolutely like right for that. Deandra's a really solid tank. I think Deandra's actually one of the units I underrated when she came out on release. I think she is. She's one of those units that I underrated that ended up just being a very, very good unit. It just is what it is, right? King, is King not, he's not aging, but he is. Very weird placement for King, but he's still triple S. I don't care. He's still triple S. He still has one of the best ultimates in the game. He still has very good damaging AoE cards. That's it. Bond, it's just Bond. You could move Bond down. You could, but I feel like Bond is right where he wants to be. Terry, I don't even really need to say much else about Terry. Boy is a monster. And then this Merlin, easily for free, man, for free. Locking attack cards when 1, 2, 3, 4, what is this? 5. Because Margaret can cleanse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess you could remember 2, 6. 6. She cucks 6 of the triple S tiers with just her using skills alone because she attack disables. Then you run her with another red Gother attack disabler. What do you do? What are you actually doing? You're not doing anything. You're not. So she kind of makes the team. She kind of makes the unknown team like just ridiculous. She does. I actually don't even know if I could argue her like lower for PvP. I guess you could. No, you have Margaret on the team. She's cucked, but I guess, right? But you run Festival Gother, then what? Like blocking buff skills with Festival Gother. What are you doing? You're not doing anything. That's the answer. They make another unknown unit that's good and attack disables. Merlin's coming right back. She is. So whew, that was a long video. Really long video. I am out of breath. I'm so thirsty. My throat is dry. Let me know what you guys think. Don't kill me in the comment section. You guys are. You guys are gonna get comments. But this personally is what I feel like, at least on global, it is what it seems. This feels right. Like this feels correct. It does. You could argue some of these units in S could move up. Not gonna lie, you could argue that. I guess you can move some people down for sure. But for the most part, I feel like this is pretty good in terms of global players. JP players might have a different meta. It's possible. Whatever. I don't care about JP because I don't play JP. Point blank. Period. I don't give a fuck. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about this tier list. What do you think? What do you think makes an SSS unit or an SS or S, whatever the case may be? What do you think places units where they should be? Who do you think personally should be higher or lower? Let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, I will see you all later.